After making your way to Cernium Square through a map teleport, the Maple Guide or the Maple Planner, you can move to the right until you find the Epic Dungeon NPC. Through him, you can get into the Epic Dungeon High Mountain. After entering, we arrive in Stage 1, the first normal stage. The goal of every normal stage is to fill up the gauge below the timer to 100%. The gauge fills up by defeating enemies. Every normal map has a sacred power level of 30. I'd recommend to take that as the absolute minimum required, because boss stages have a sacred power level of 50. So if you are below 30 sacred power, it wouldn't surprise me if it would take you more than 2 hours to finish the whole dungeon. Every normal stage also has 3 thresh points at which special enemies spawn, that are more difficult to defeat in your normal form, but are perfectly lined up to be taken out in your Mitra form. Thankfully, you won't have to remember these timings, because Mitra will tell you when these special enemies are about to spawn, and a map message will appear when they do spawn. The formations of these special enemies are always the same, except for the 8th stage, where the actual location is randomized between 3 predetermined positions. I should also note that in Stage 5, you have to use one of the 4 teleporters to get to the special enemies. You can turn into your Mitra form at will, but any ability that isn't a flash jump costs you power from your power gauge. You get an omnidirectional dash, an omnidirectional wave attack, a blast, and a buff that makes all the other abilities cost no power for a short amount of time, but itself costs the maximum amount of power you can hold. Out of these abilities, I use the dash when special enemies are lined up, and the blast when they are bunched up. While the wave attack can be useful, I found it easier to get a bit closer and use the blast instead. From Stage 4 onwards, every normal stage has an invulnerable dark egg in the middle of the map. Once you reach the 65% mark on the gauge, it becomes vulnerable for 16 seconds. If you manage to defeat it within that time frame, your power gauge fills up completely and your screen is filled with respawning special monsters. Transform into Mitra, use the buff that disables ability cost, and fly around with dash until the stage is over. Next up are the 4 boss stages. Your rather obvious goal is to defeat the boss. Below the timer, you see 10 red flames. If you die, you lose a flame. Once you reach 0 flames, you lose the fight. Also, once you enter any boss map, any healing besides Familiar's percentage health heals is disabled. Instead, you're going to have to walk up to one of these red symbols and spam your interact key to heal. These only spawn while the boss is active. There are 3 lesser bosses in stages 3, 6, and 9, and the final boss at stage 10. All the lesser bosses split into special monsters about every minute more or less. You can defeat them easily with your Mitra form, just like in the normal maps. Depending on how many you eliminate, the boss will lose up to 10% of their health. The first boss deals damage whenever you touch them. They are either slowly walking up to you or charging up a charge attack that you can jump over. Make sure to heal when you get somewhat low and they won't be a problem. The second boss does not deal touch damage. Instead, it marks your position and after a moment makes the closest platform deal damage if you stand on it. If you are in a weird spot at the right time, no platform is affected. Up to 2 platforms can become dangerous at the same time. As long as you make sure the middle platform is safe to stand on, you're going to have an easy time. The third boss only deals damage if it catches you in its charge attack. You could move away from the boss whenever it is charging up to then avoid its attack, but as long as you regularly use the interactable to heal up, you won't even have to dodge. The final boss spawns the special enemies every 2 minutes, but if you fail to defeat all of them in this boss, you lose a flame. Another difference is that if you did clear all of the special enemies, you have to go to the golden barrier in the middle and interact with it to deal the damage to the boss. Also, every third time the final boss spawns the special enemies, it becomes a special pattern where you have to defeat as many of the special enemies as you can in a limited amount of time, similar to defeating the Dark Egg in the normal stage. All of the final boss's normal attacks have obvious tells and are easy enough to dodge. For the multiple crisscross lasers, stand where they won't hit. The bottom of the map is usually your best bet. The laser that follows you, just keep moving. There's a delay between it stopping and actually firing. The big horizontal laser, just jump down or up depending on if you're on a platform or ground level. It won't follow you. That's everything that you need to know to complete the epic dungeon High Mountain. If you have any tips or tricks I haven't mentioned, leave them in the comments. And thank you for watching.